Welcome back to Cutting Edge Consciousness, thought-provoking discussions and bold ideas from the edge of possibility.
And welcome back to Cutting Edge Consciousness. Freeman Michaels here with Barnett Bain. Just got done with Joe Vitale. Wow.
Well, I so enjoyed that guy.
He's awesome.
You know,
he's inspired. He's inspired and inspiring. So look, this is the whole premise of what he was saying, is that whatever I see, I've said before that I'm what's right with the world I see and I'm what's wrong with the world I see. This way of owning it. And so if I want the inspiration that I attract in and I generate is my gift. It's his gift. And he lives it. He lives it in such a wide open way. It's a blessing to everyone who comes in contact with him.
The ownership of the world, the ownership of what is right in myself, and the ownership of what I prefer less, what I have difficulty with, what triggers me, what makes me hurt, lonely, angry, what makes me feel helpless, hopeless, misunderstood, what makes me feel anxious, fearful, all of this whole infinite menu of constrictive of thoughts and feelings. To own them and to make peace with them and to love them. In my own life, it continues to help me function more with more and more compassion, and frankly, it has given me more and more freedom.
Yeah, freedom
to, the very least, say these kinds of things on a platform like this. Once upon a time, I would never have dreamed of these things, much less dreamed of sharing these things.
Right.
So the world for me is becoming a safer and safer place, and I know that there may be listeners who think, well, that's an incredible vanity. It's not all about you. It is, and it isn't. It isn't about me from a small me ego place.
Yeah, not a narcissistic
and as what Joe is talking about, Ho'oponopono, I can't even say it. Ho'oponopono.
Yeah.
I love to try to say it, but I can't say it. The linchpin of that process begins with the ownership of everything.
Yeah.
The linchpin is the forgiveness of the self, and the understanding that the self and the whole are connected. I am separate. I am both separate and connected to everything that is. That's a leap. It's a quantum leap in the way that I relate to everything. But it is a healing leap to make. And that when I forgive myself from that point of view, it has impact everywhere. That no thought and no feeling, every thought and every feeling ripples across eternity. Nothing is isolated. So that's about, we asked him what his life was about. The ownership of that is what my life is about. It is now anyway. It may change in a week, a month, it may be all different.
What I love about the Ho'oponopono process.
I love that you can say it.
Mm-hmm.
Say it again.
Ho'oponopono.
Nice.
Is the love it. So the response to everything is love it. That's the perspective from which that process comes. And love can be expressed as compassion and understanding and forgiveness and acceptance and yada, yada, yada. But that simplicity of love it, That
love it does not mean, for anybody that is questioning this, love it does not mean I approve of it.
It's not a complacency. It's a very active interrelationship with it. It is, again, a level of ownership. To love it is to kind of take it on.
It's to have an active caring about it from a place that is born out of the experience of sorrow.
Yeah.
I can relate to my own places of sorrow, of anger, of violence, from having been there. I can relate to that part of me. And I love it. Again, it doesn't mean that I'm giving it a license to express, and it doesn't mean that I'm approving of it. But I'm loving it. I understand it.
So your ability to make choices inside the loving of it is greater. So again, we just go back to the simple story of myself after 9/11, or even during right after the Boston shootings, not shootings, the bombings, forgive me, or after the shootings in Newtown. All of those is how do I be with this? The confusion of it, the hurt of it, the sadness, the anger, the frustration, whatever, in a constructive way. Love it, not love the event, but love. How can I get underneath it? And what it evoked in me is a kind of vulnerability that creates a quality of experience in my life. I'm more alive. The opposite of the vulnerability for me is a kind of shut down. It's going back to the constrictive.
Deny it, control it.
It's
push it down. What we push down,
disconnecting.
Yeah, what we push down comes at us. What we push down in our psyches comes back at us on the screen of the world.
That's it.
I'm reminded of years ago. I'm driving in the car and somebody comes by me and is leaning on the horn and is screaming and yelling at me and shaking fists and I say to Sandy with real hostility and rage, "What is that guy all about?" And she says, "Well, he thinks you cut him off. He's responding in exactly the way you're responding. So all of this hostility that you are looking at the world, maybe it's yours. Maybe it's matching you. Now, not to equate that with events that happening other places or in Boston or other places, but
you can in some way. I mean, I'm sorry I'm cutting you off a little bit, but you can. Again, it's a level of ownership. As long as it's out there, as long as I can just project it out and point my finger and call it something outside of me and not take responsibility for it, then there's no power in that. Then I'm a victim of what's happening.
I know folks who say, "Oh, I have no anger. I'm not angry." Particularly people who pursue the kinds of interests that we are focused on this show.
Yeah.
Consciousness, growth, spirituality. There are some who say, "Well, I don't have any angry feelings."
You don't cut off a part of your humanness. The emotion of anger is a human emotion.
You're all of it.
Yeah,
You're all of it. And it doesn't mean that it expresses all of the time. But we had, before she passed away, we had Debbie Ford with us on this show, and she
beautiful conversation.
Spoke very eloquently about our relationship to our shadow. And people would prefer to focus on their light shadow, not so much on the ownership of the more constrictive things that they either deny outright or we push down, or it's uncomfortable I would hate to think that I have meanness, or I would hate to think that I am capable of violence. And there's precious little that at this point that I think I am incapable of, given the right set of circumstances. Yeah, and that absolutely. That thought brings a lot of humility to me. It's a shocker.
Yeah, I have a big banner right now that I want to say. Life is uncomfortable, and that's not a bad thing. This whole wanting to be comfortable, and again, it generates a kind of complacency and a kind of disconnection. Again, the events such as the bombing in Boston, they fire off within me all this feeling. At the end of the day, what happens is I feel more connected. Yes, I feel vulnerable. But I also, what I was expressing about after 9/11, going out that day, I felt really connected to people. I felt really alive in my experience. So again, this whole distraction pattern of wanting to be comfortable. Life isn't comfortable. We're not here to be comfortable. We're here to be inspired. We're here
to be comfortable,
to doing amazing things. And we're here to feel fully all of the hurts and the sadness and the anger and the frustration, the disappointment. Feel it. Be alive in it. And then we're responding in a much more helpful way in the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then we can actually be the source of something amazing and excellent and great. Otherwise, it's mediocre, because we're playing it safe and we don't want to feel too much and we're seeking comfort, and life isn't about being comfortable. That's the headline. It isn't. It's about being alive. It's about being fully engaged. It's about being connected.
I don't know what it's about. I have a sense of what mine is about.
Right.
And I absolutely agree with you that when I am looking for comfort, and there is always a part of me that is looking for comfort and resisting change.
Right.
When I am looking for comfort, I'm committed to absolutes and guarantees and certainties.
Yep.
As though I can control a dream.
Yep. We're back to control again.
So it is a control issue.
Fix, solve, control.
That threads back to what we began the show with around those that hold pessimism as a sin. And I understand that control is perhaps a greater sin for the same reason. It is an attempt for very understanding. I can have compassion for the part of me that does that and others. It is very understandable to want to have guarantees and safety by acts and doings, things that we can do in the world, insurances that we take out that mitigate against change. However, if you hold, as we do on this show, that we are consciously, we can become not just lucid dreamers, but lucid livers. We can become awake and aware that this is a dream, and that we can begin to co-create with it to the degree we become closer and intimate with what we're thinking and feeling, but that requires feeling, and choosing and deciding that those energies allow us to become lucid livers.
Yeah,
And,
I love that, lucid livers.
And allow us, then we can drop free of the need to control and to have guarantees and to have absolutes, and know that we have the capacities and the gifts and the talents and the resources to respond to the challenges of life. Things may take us by surprise, but we have the resources to respond and to grow.
And I'm going to track back to the jargon conversation, where the jargon makes it less real, makes what we're trying to express less real. It makes it easy because we can track back to our jargon and our already written yesterday's language, because we can just repeat it again and again and again and think that in some way we're engaged in our lives. But the truth is, the jargon, if we're not careful, can become another distraction pattern, another way of tracking back to comfort and complacency and disconnection, versus, can I put my jargon down and wander in a little bit and try to figure out what I can, extrapolate and understand and so forth from a set of circumstances.
It keeps us innocent.
Yes.
It keeps us in the garden.
Letting go of the jargon keeps us innocent.
Letting go of the jargon requires us to be sufficiently present that we don't look like it's all tucked in, and that's more real.
It is more real. It's a little uncomfortable.
Well, the vanities come up and say, "Well, I don't look good. I'm on YouTube here."
But I'm on radio.
The vanities come up.
Yeah.
The flip side of it is that there's more aliveness, and it's more real.
Yeah. This is, again, the layers with our commitment to the edge of possibility is so powerful, because, as we've said before, we'll throw a monkey wrench into the works.
And then we bring a guy like Joe on who throws in like 2-3 grenades. And there's suddenly the whole reservation is blown, and we're threading completely new ground.
Yeah. Well, this is, I'm sure right now he's off writing a new book or a new song.
He's finished 3 since we got off the air with him.
Exactly. Because that's the nature of how that guy puts it out in the world. And we're grateful to each week be able to put this out in the world. And we're grateful that you're listening and watching, or however you're getting this material.
Participating with us.
We invite you to continue to participate, to tell your friends, and
to feedback to us and correspond with us, whether it's on our Facebook page or on our website or on the YouTube
channel,
or however it is we enjoy hearing from you.
Yeah. So keep coming back to Cutting Edge Consciousness.